I'd like to welcome everybody to Claymont City School Board of Education meeting. If everybody could sign in on their way out the door real quick, as you're leaving, I don't know if the students knew that they need to sign in and out. The vision statement is Claymont City School District will provide each student an opportunity for a lifetime of success with a mission statement of Claymont City School District creating an environment that nurtures, develops, and empowers each student. And the next regular meeting will be on June 10th, 2024. Can we stand for the?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We do have a correction to the agenda, which will be, we're going to remove letter F.
We're not going to remove this entirely, letter F. We're going to remove that behind Alley West.
From letter F.
Item F.
Can we get a motion in a second? So moved. And that's second. Roll call. Mrs. Toast? Yes. Ms. Campbell?
Yes.
Mrs. Grandison?
Yes.
Mr. Peters?
Yes.
Mrs. Wilson? Yes. Can we get a motion a second to approve the meeting agenda? Roll call. Mr. Grandison? Yes. Ms. Campbell?
Yes.
Mrs. Toast? Yes. Mr. Peters?
Yes.
Mrs. Wilson? Yes.
Under the accommodations, I just want to highlight a few things. I had the march with the Music in Our Schools Month, and the National Association for Music Education presented Claymont City Schools with a certificate for participating within Music in Our Schools Month. So I know last year we highlighted people who were in music through our school system. So we want to appreciate Mrs. Leinert, Mr. Chambers, and Mrs. Warner for working through music in our school. We have the Ditcher family of Olive and Junior Yoder, Alice and Dorsey Davison, Steve and Nancy Ditcher, Diane and Brandy Emler, Carol and Mike Lewis. They made a donation to the intermediate school for the PBAS Foundation in memory of Sherry Selena. As you recall, Sherry passed away this school year. And the Claymont staff, they received a President's Award for giving a 10% increase to the United Way. I want to thank the staff and them. And then the Kaya Lyons for her Overcoming Obstacles Award that she received here a few weeks ago. I want to acknowledge her as well. It's important to add some that I made a minute. I have So we're going to start with a presentation from David DiDonato regarding our fundraising for our baseball and softball field. Mrs. Lind and I have been discussing for a while about we have to do something regarding our softball, baseball field and how wet it is out at the high school where the band practices and the cross country runs. Ironically, Dino emails me a couple days after I was having this brief conversation with Beth. And so he is heading up a fundraising campaign, and he has a PowerPoint here to share. So I'm going to turn it over to you. Okay.
I'll try. If you're okay.
Okay.
I'll advance the slides and you can talk.
Okay. And just to piggyback on what he said, I've been a head coach for 7 years. And we had the same issues out in the Cannon Valley with the drainage. and we fixed it. Right now, I'll put it to you this way, my first year there, we were inside 33 times. Spring, never got on the field to practice. And then games back up, it's just a mess. And you kind of have the same issue here. And turf fields are not going away. Every school is going to be getting, and they're going to be more prevalent everywhere. We don't want to lose our good kids anymore than lost them. So anyway, here's my presentation. You can go to the next slide. And I've been doing board meetings for my whole life. I know how long they can be, so I'll be quick. This is without turf. Currently, it's a rarity when a coach can conduct any kind of full practice to start the season. So I know that Logan told me maybe they had one full practice. And you spend your whole off season getting your practice schedule ready to go outside, and then you never get to do it. Because here's why. Go to number 2. Players are forced to go from practicing in the gym, indoor facilities, to directly playing games. And what happens, games are canceled. Go ahead. They get backed up with rainouts so that all you do is practice inside and then play games almost every night because there's no open dates. So when the games are canceled, we reschedule the open dates, and then when the weather does get nice, you got your team going night after night, not getting to practice at all. And once the season starts, and that's kind of where they've been. That they've been playing almost every night there, and it's tough to correct mistakes. If you can imagine a football team being in a gym and then saying, "Okay, now go out there and play a football game." Get on the field to practice. That's what we go through. Turf solves that. I saw it in Con Valley. It's incredible. There is a safety factor too. Not just the batted balls. There's no bad hops on turf. But I lost my leading hitter my first year because on the field he stepped in a little bit of a hole and did a number on his Achilles tendon. You don't have any of that on the field right there. Okay. Okay, this is what the baseball field in its entirety would look like. You can see the lines there. That's just giving you an idea what it would look like. Go ahead. And here's the scope of work, and I'm not going to show this on every slide. But okay, stop right there. In yellow, I highlighted because we're crossing our fingers that maybe the board could help us with drainage issues. They could pick up that part of it, because this is going to be a huge number to raise. Okay, go ahead now. And these are all things they're going to do. There's another drainage thing they're going to do. Okay, and I think there's one more. Go ahead. Okay, and they'll install one set of bases on that. Now, when I was at Connaught, we had the worst field for drainage. It was right field to center field was constantly wet, constantly. No matter from center to left to be dry, we had issues. I thought there's no way I'm going to ever be able to get a field there. And then the company came in with Vasco. They figured out the drainage. I don't know how they did it, but it was incredible what they did. So they'll be able to fix the drainage issues. Let's go to the next one. Okay, this is what Claymont would be responsible for. Seeding and sodding, that means that when they're done, there might be something around the area we might have to seed. Engineering and permits if needed. Brian, you know more about that. Answer the questions on that. And any extra topsoil are filled with dirt disposals up to us. I'm sure we'll have it. Now here's some add-ons. This one here is called cement stabilization. This is for the whole baseball field. It's $200,000. You try not to get this because this field has to settle. If it settles all right, then you won't need it. We needed it at Con Valley, and we had to pay the extra, but boy, was it worth it. That just makes it is smooth as a baby's butt. Okay, and next, the other one is, this is new. This is an upgrade to field turf double play. It's a better quality and it's reinforced the way I understand it. Tell me if I'm wrong, right? It's reinforced along the bases where they run. And where you lead off, at first, there's that area there, and at second, that is where they lead off, and at third, it always gets worn out quicker. This will give you a little more life on it if we happen to race them. That's an add-on. Now, this, I think is neat. We put one in it in our valley because we didn't have room for two. There's room for two there. So you could have two pitchers warming up for Claymont, two pitchers warming up for visitors during a game. Or in practice, your pitching coach can work with 5 pitchers. One can work on the moves first, one can work on the moves third or second, or both of them moves second. But the warm-up mounds, I would highly recommend that. That's the one for those. Now, softball doesn't need, they don't put them in for softballs. They just do it for baseball. Okay, and I put Little League and Pony League bases in too. That's probably going to be an app. They put pegs in for Little League, which I think is 45. I'm not sure. It's not right. But and there's one for Pony League. And that way, they're down at that pH. And varsity's not playing. Bring them up there. There will be a custodian on duty so they don't have to pay. But it's just a better place for our kids to get them excited about playing baseball. And also, if you did play Mazzarelli's on the weekend, it is packed with people. Can you imagine them coming to play one? And I would think Wendy's and McDonald's would be chipping in to help get these people here because there's no place to eat up there all over, and those places are small. We would get it, help the community, and it brings people to your school. And I'll tell you this, as a baseball coach in Indian Valley, I love coming to play one. They like the field, they like the beehives in the dugout, but I love the environment back. They have a great looking field with that. Oh my God, it would be the showplace. Okay, let's go to the next one. Okay, that's something, Brian, that you were talking about. Do you want to say anything on it?
Yeah, well, I had another group come in last week, and they believe that our catch basins along the driveway and out where the band practices, there's either cracks or water's not flowing from those pipes. So there's either cracks in the pipes or they're disconnected. That would be something else that on the third base side of the baseball diamond, I don't think there's any drainage there. But really it is needed as well. So that's what that is estimated. That's what that estimate is for. Be able to touch base with catching all those catch bases that are up and working properly. And as I said, there's no drawings of where they are. As I've updated the school board, it's his best husband laid it out years ago, and it wasn't followed as far as the install. So that's why we're running into those issues now. So that not just the field, but around the field, we need to address as well.
There's what it costs. It's going to cost $1 million to do the whole field. And that's with no add-ons. So it's going to, the big expense is, of course, the outcome. There's a lot of area. Okay. All right, now the baseball infield only. Oh, go back. Can you go back one?
I thought it was going to show me the amount.
I want to show the logo. There is a logo. Didn't. Don't worry about it. I can catch up on it. I have the okay, add-ons. Now, the cost for the notice of stabilization is gonna be a lot lower, but it's just an infill. Go ahead. And, the turf upgrade is less. Go ahead.
Okay.
And of course, the warm up mounts will still be the same. Okay. And then Little League and Public League mixes are on, be part of that. And that's what Brian just talked about. Okay, let's go on to the next one. Okay, this is the infill. There you can see the logo behind on the plate. That's all I got, what they sent it to me to show you. But this would be the infill only, so go ahead, Ben. And it's 385,000. I think we can do the infills. I think we could raise enough money for the infills for both. But here's the thing. We don't do the outfield. It's not going to be done. It's not. One, I'm not going to do another fundraiser to go out and ask people, okay, now we need more money to finish this project. I think it's best to do it all at once. It would be awesome if we could do it all at once. But it's not, I don't want to go back to people. It really, I don't know that many people are going to, they'll look at that info and go, this is fun. But meanwhile, I stand behind home plate and I look out at that outfield. And I see the home run fence. In left field, I see all of them. In left center, I see about half of it. It goes up and it comes back down. So it's that on level. Okay, next. Softball entire field. That's what it would look like. And you can put these up real quick. These are just the numbers it's going to take. All right, and this is the entire field. Add-ons for softball. We did it. Those are the numbers. I think you guys may have it. Go ahead.
That's what the animal. I figured there's with the animals and not.
It's with the what?
Is it with the animals? I think softball.
Softball.
I didn't see it bad on.
That was an add-on to the softball
But I mean,
estimate for the infield. So that's an add.
I haven't seen it. Is it a total on here? Maybe
Yeah, go ahead.
it's not gonna show up there. Okay.
That's what it costs without the add-ons. That's what the whole field is. Okay, go ahead. Now the infield only.
I'm sorry.
Okay, go ahead. You can hit these real quick. These are add-ons for the infield. Go ahead, yeah. And that's what the infield cost us, if we only did the infield's. So what our committee met, we thought, we're gonna try for everything, but at the minimum, we want to have infields done. And we want to have it in by this spring. So both of them can do it, both companies we talked to. Get it done. Let's go on to the next one. How about that? Okay, this is the baseball infield, and go ahead and hit again. And that's 385,000. Go ahead and hit it again and again. And that's baseball full field. There's a difference. You can see the difference in the prices there between the infield and full field.
No, I don't, on field.
No, it's out.
But those.
Okay, now let's go to the next one, which I believe is softball. Click it again. There's softball and full field, and those are the prices there. Okay, next. Go ahead. Okay, this is softball full field and baseball full field. And look at one more time, I think there's a total there. And that's what we would be looking at. But if you throw in some of the add-ons, I'm expecting it to be closer to that. We do everything. But that's what we could get without any mounts. I think. Not desire to not have those matters. I think, go ahead.
Thank you.
Done with the drafts. Okay. I wrote this down as finishing touches. Okay, concrete perimeter work to include the following. This would be something you would dream about. From the back of the third base baseball dugout to the back of the first base softball dugout, all that would be concrete someday, where people can walk, not walk through like this, look at where they're going and stepping and things. I went through it at Indian Valley when I started there. First thing I did was concreted everything, right? You know what all that is behind the backstop. Everybody to keep it on. Include underneath all bleachers right now. There are weeds growing up under the bleachers, probably about this high. And I would not want to be the person having to go under that bleachers fall in there and start the weeds out. So that would be included. And we talked about this. The lower base, we have those mats or tarps, whatever you call them. They're there to bear pelts. And they're there now, but aesthetically, they don't look real good. And they're not straight. But we could probably get a brick donated, and we could find somebody with a really nice brick base around one end. I got the other. Both ends. Okay. And then these are just things that were a press box. Right now, what I see is somebody sitting behind home plate out of the field. We have all these, you've been to Harrison Central and they have gas and everything. All these places have a nice press box. Stay out of the elements. And it's also telling they will come and do your game. They know I got people in Indian Valley come broadcast our game because we had a setup for them in a press box. It was elevated away from the elements. And so they would come because they like the setup. Next, like field usage, I would say my thing would be high school team. If I have to talk right over you, they're on, but they're off. That's the next. Both fields are set up to accommodate lower level plays when high school teams are not used to the field. Go ahead. Travel team tournaments are huge fundraisers. If the travel team, I know the softball wants to do this. If you bring your band at Sean Valley, we had a band at the concession stand. They made tons of money. They had a nice concession stand there. It was covered. And I'll tell you, the concession stand there, it's one of the best features of that too. But when the travel team are playing all those people there, they may not want to go in there when it's bombs. Set up some grills on the blacktop out there. You make, oh my God, there's so many people there. It's incredible. Now you go to a high school game, the numbers dwindle. When those 8 and 9-year-old kids are playing, both boys and girls, the parents are there. That's great. Okay, next. Summer baseball teams. Brian and I have talked about this. I ran camps every summer. I would kill the wet camps on turf. That would be incredible. We had all kinds of issues with getting people wet. Summer baseball camps, the coaches can make money. Charge them $30, get them a T-shirt, and put the money to their fundraisers for themselves, or have the parents come in and run a concession stand for some band or some other activity, some club activity. And here's what I would do. I'd have a fundamentals camp. I'd have a hitting camp. I'd have a pitching camp. Those are the 3 things to build your program. Now, you have a facility like turf, you're going to get kids to come. You will get probably, I'm going to say, 40 to 50 kids first year come to play on the turf. And you'll get kids from other schools who may look at the school and go, I like this, I like to play here. And they're not really recruiting, but the school, the facility recruits itself. And to do that, the kids did that every week during the summer. Had fundamentals camp, hitting camp, and pitching camp. We did them, and we had good turnouts. And you would have, let's say, a third grader, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth. That's 6 weeks times maybe 18 weeks before they get to high school of doing things the way the Claymont wants it done. And that's invaluable to the program. But I don't think people are going to flock. Not that now. You're in a team. I think you might be better off a little bit. What if you had us? It would bring people. I think that might be it. That's people feel that it.
Yeah, that's it.
Now, you guys have questions for me? I will try to answer.
How do you plan to raise the money?
Well, we're gonna kind of do it the way they did with the football. I'm gonna go out to the donors. Yeah, here's what I. When I was at Central, I was sent away 2 weeks each year to go learn about raising money. Catholic school, so raising money. So anyway, one thing they said is, you gotta go for the big donors. You gotta go for the big donors. You can have a festival, or you could do a fundraiser, work your butt off, and it rains, might make $500. You go to that one donor. I learned how to do it, how to approach it, how to ask it. And I learned about the ask. Tell you what that is sometime. I don't think the ask is huge. And that's how I would go about it. I would go first with the big donor, see what we got, where we're at. Hey, if we can't get the whole field, hope we get enough for the infields. Even if you did the infields, people would be stunned. Any other questions? I have 12. It's I gave Brian, I think, has a list of it. You know, I can share it with you. Oh, yeah, I had a copy. I didn't get it to you. I got to have a list. I can share it with you. And if anybody else wants to be on that committee, know somebody, we're going to limit on it.
Yeah, you just get that list, right?
So you're asking for seating and oversawing, energy engineering and permits if needed, extra taco, and then also the add-ons? Or are you hoping to raise?
No, I'm hoping the add-ons are, we raise it.
Great.
The only thing I'd be asking for would be 3. Oh, yeah.
We needed that sand.
Now, we just had our athletic council meeting, and I shared with the athletic council members that our athletic director, I'm not gonna say it's confirmed, but did have an offer for donation on piping for out there. But I don't want to say who it is or anything of that nature until it's done deal, but that would help very, very much in this whole process. One, we're out with the band practices, cross-country runs, and cut costs off of the field, just in drainage. And then hopefully, I've said, I think we needed to do something as far as drainage, just as a whole. Here we leveled the area, put a couple fields in, and did finish the project. We do have sewer out of the concession stand for the restroom. So you're saying, well, let's move the field. We thought maybe there was a septic tank. There's no sewer line. There's water. There's electricity. Obviously, it's run out there as well. So I think as far as commitment, if we potentially have the donation of piping, it would just matter how else we help support and get that accomplished. And then I know he's looking for the confirmation from the school board to say, go get it and see what we can have done, but I was just thinking of that, I had the pleasure to work with, Dino, whenever he was, and I was a volunteer, and I had to pick up, he didn't. And, I was going over to, Five Coast lumberyard picking up sawdust because someone had to play that night. And, I'm throwing down sawdust on a baseball diamond. So that was well before diamond dry. So now, and you don't have to line the fields with dirt. You don't have to paint the lines down to the baselines. And you're not buying any extra equipment as far as laying down diamond dry as well. However, I say that this doesn't come to fruition. If the drainage is fixed, it can still remain still a grass field. I think that's the biggest issue. The treating is turf, putting down the carpet, but fixing the drainage so that we can actually have a successful seasons out there. And actually not have our maintenance guy falling sinkholes as they're popping up because of issues with drainage.
And I might add, and I was at a tournament this weekend at Asprelli's, where as a fan, where I was standing, there was this much water. But the fields on inflation, and you would think that if there was no turf, there's no way. That's that. No, their outfields are fine. They just turf their infields. And I know he's got plans to do that. But he also put, we don't want to make this mistake. He also put drainage, I'm sorry, irrigation pipes underneath. In the summertime, keeps the moist. However, we did that in Rock Valley, and we had to take them all out. So I wouldn't jump to that conclusion. I would say leave it the way it is, because of the nature of it.
Well, we have intermittent irrigation right now. And lately, whenever it's raining, it's whenever it works.
Yeah.
You ran the numbers to make it, to do everything, she touches everything that you dream of. How much needs to be raised to do everything?
Are you talking about the press box and all
I'm
that?
talking about press box, add-on, everything that we could have.
I just put those down as things I look at. But my concern was the fields, and actually, they didn't break down the numbers on that, on their scope of work. They just gave us a total, this is what they're gonna do. So that scope of work, I always thought if we could get the breakdown there, we could write grants, because I did that a lot. Yeah, we wrote grants, got a lot, put a roof on the school, football field, baseball field. A lot of that came from grants. So we would, we just gotta find a couple of people willing to put that time in to write the grants. I mean, I would like grants too, but it'd be nice to have a little rough plan.
But we need a breakdown, from the contract, so.
Yeah.
To get those grants.
And we kind of rushed them, because I told them we had this board meeting, and that's what they rushed it for us to get it in.
And the other one I met with last week, he said probably take a couple of weeks for him to get the numbers. And, I don't know if he'll have drawings, I could ask him how you propose in the layout screens. So if we had the drawings, that's very helpful, and that they have in-house engineers on their own. The companies.
We're gonna give it our best shot. Try like crazy. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. guys.
Keep going.
The microphone's sitting here.
Now, before I begin, how much do you all know about age well if you've been following it? Can I ask a question before you start? Who are cooking things? Zane Kazurka, Kate Halsey, and Cam. Thank you. Sophomore, an old man. Thank you. All right, you're welcome. So, Age Well is a company through the Junior Achievement Program that our teacher, Mr. Andrew Zimmerman, has put together with his business program. And JA's whole idea is to sort of institute children or teenagers to create their own businesses through their program. And how long do you think the expo was?
First was April 4th.
And yes, as we were discussing, we had an expo on April 4th where all of the Junior Achievement of Northeast Ohio teams go to sort of compete to win cash prizes or something such as that. And we came in 6th place, and I will begin to describe what Age Well is. Now, our company, Age Well, has created kits for people 50 and over to contribute. Mr. Wrench, would you want one of these tables to or the table as well? I thought it's a big deal. Charity.
I know,
I was the only one that can qualify it.
I know Miss Edwards said when she was talking, you know, she saw that her mom was aging. And that's really the idea it came from. But, if you want to share it here, we can look at it. Yeah.
We came up with Age Well while we were just talking normally. We just got to talking, kind of got off topic, but we decided to use that idea of our parents and grandparents getting older, to create our idea and our product. And we started trying to we made our booklet and our challenge cards on Canva. We used that everything, and then we went to Bloom's Printing to produce all of that. They produced the challenge cards, the boxes, and the wellness curriculum booklet. After that, we had to advertise. So we have a social media page on Facebook and Instagram. And for our age group, we thought it was best to stay off TikTok. A lot of people 15 older on TikTok, but we did have a really large following on Facebook. We also had to produce our website. We used that using Wix, and so far we've had about I believe we've had 500 unique visitors, 500 to 600 unique visitors on our website. So as Zane was mentioning, at the expo, we came in 6 out of 18 teams, and competed against teams from like Jackson, Hoover, Beaverton, all schools up north, very successful in this past. And for our first year, we were the smallest team. I believe we were pretty successful, even though we just got 6th place. We didn't earn any cash prizes while we were there. But a few weeks ago, we did go to Shark Club. Yes, at the Buckeye Career Center, which is for businesses that are 5 years or younger, and they compete for cash prize. The first place was $5,000, and we got first at Shark Club. We do have one other member that can make it here tonight, Ellie Baker, who's our CEO. And yes, and valid. Yeah.
Who is also our valedictorian.
You want to do the finance?
So we started selling
February first, and since then, we sold, I think like 151 plus kids. 100, yeah, so our lead number is 172. And so through that, I think we made a little over like 6,500 in revenue. And I think we had, including our $5,000, we had like 10 to $11,000 total from profits.
With our profits, we are donating 10% to Meals on Wheels of Northeast Ohio, and then we'll split the profit 4 ways. For most of the teams, you can decide if you want to continue the business or if you just want to shut it down. We're just trying to get rid of our inventory over the summer and hopefully let some more people buy some kits. We also had a volunteer in the community, Brad Zimmerman, a lawyer. He was our age goal volunteer. He helped with the logo. He helped with our age demographic and things like that. I just want to thank you all for your time and support.
How much are your kits?
Are you?
$35.
Yeah.
$35.
Yeah.
Where do you purchase kits?
We have our website. You can for our website. We can either ship it out to you, or you can come pick it up at the high school.
What's the website address?
The website is agelja.com.
And how many more kits do you have in your inventory?
Our inventory was 250, and we sold 173 kits, so about 50. That was okay.
Do you like do a big push over the summer months?
Yeah.
All sales are fine.
It's okay, because we're old and we can get it younger, so we'll keep using it.
Oh, nobody in this room looks a day over 20.
Yes. And I gave them to some of my aging friends. And they enjoyed it.
So, you're saying you haven't decided whether or not you're going to keep this going or if you're going to bring it to a stop. What are your what are you looking to see to make that decision?
We just have to sit down and discuss among our teammates what we're going to do. Last weekend, we had to go to UCAN Mall to try and sell some. Unfortunately, the mall didn't help us sell any kits. We couldn't sell any kits there. But we do want to keep continuing to sell until our inventory runs out. I think that's the plan so far.
Maybe a different company next year? Is that what you're looking at?
Yeah.
Ideas?
So.
You got your feet wet in business.
Yeah, I'm very glad for this opportunity. It helped me get up and talk in front of people. I would have never done this before. It's helped me really get out of my comfort zone. It's also helped me know how an actual business runs. It's not just sitting in a classroom on a piece, just doing a piece of paper. You're actually having to do interviews on the news, on the radio. You have to go market. You have to make a commercial. That's part of our rubric. So. The rubric for our expo with JA, we had to create an annual report, a commercial, we had a trade show booth, and then we had to present in front of a live panel of judges along with 9 other teams. Yeah.
I listen to you on the radio and I see you on high school TV.
Yeah, so we made an appearance on Fox 8 News. New Day in Cleveland, and also Ellie, our CEO, she was on Channel 19 News. We were also on WJR twice.
If I'm not mistaken, we were also on WTUC, I think once, and we have been in UP Park a couple of times. One should have just been published this last Friday.
We've also spoken at Rotary meeting. The Rotary.
Yes, we have spoken at one at the
We spoken at New Philadelphia, we're looking at Denison, Dover, yes, we're looking at Dover grocery as well.
You are definitely to be mentioned because this is just a great idea. I mean, I like the idea in general, how to get numbers, which my sisters get this. Yeah. Right. But I just think this is phenomenal, and I totally appreciate this, and I love just how you've learned so much, and just that you can even see how this has changed you and what you are now able to do, and I think that's a fantastic program. So all of you, as well as Mr. Zimmerman, are to be commended for this. This is just outstanding.
Thank you. I'm really looking forward to next year.
Thank you.
Next, we have, Ms. LaConcha, every year, she has, child find report.
Okay, every year I'm required to present my IDEA funds. You guys have this in front of you, so I'm not gonna go through number by number, but just some basic numbers that are important, because I'm not nearly as entertaining as either one of the last two presentations. So I apologize for that. Some things that just our funding for the year, the numbers don't add up if you add them up because we were reallocated. So some of that changed, we were reallocated money from the beginning of the year. Look over, you can see on the back of that, it talks about things that are, the things that we need to pay for. You guys may have a second page. Well, yeah,
You start to the video.
oh, okay. All right, so, some of the things that we purchase are, we have purchase services, which is our occupational therapy, our physical therapy. One of our school sites is, purchased through this as well, partial behavioral and partial evaluation services. Currently, at this point in time, have 17.09% of our population is identified as students with disabilities, and the state average is 16%. We're just a little bit above that. Not a lot, which is good. But our intervention specialists, what we employ currently, we have 20 intervention specialists. We have 1.5 school psychologists, and half of that she does behavioral as well. Speech and language pathologists, we have 3. We have 1 occupational therapist contractor to the We do hire our own occupational therapist assistants, and our PT and BTAs are also the DSC. And currently, we have 38 paraprofessionals. This includes classroom aides, school suspension aides, library, busing. And just one quick thing, all of this money comes, I have a certain amount of money that I'm funded, but you can see that the district spends 4.1 million, except for 4.1 million going on special education. So it's, a lot is supporting the district, honestly.
So this isn't across the entire district, correct?
Yep. Any other questions? All right, thank you.
Yes. What is he tonight? We'll start with the monthly financials for April. May. So okay. May. Thing down here says May. I just want to turn.
Yes.
Wait, let me open it up so you can see it. There you go.
Yeah.
It says May, but it's April, so we're good.
It's April.
Maybe it's that little way.
It works.
There you go.
Okay. Okay, so we're 10 months into the budget for this year. Right now, we are 89.12% for revenues, and this is on the old forecast. So we're working on the old forecast, so we approved the forecast tonight. So 10 months in, we're supposed to, it's around 83%. We're 3.31% higher than fiscal year 23. We did receive the rollback said from the property taxes in April. Interest is up to $382,000 for this fiscal year. And I look back, I think last year, I think it was $17,000. So I mean, it was either last year or 2 years ago, it was $17,000. So I think the revenue was high. But anyway, yeah. Medicaid reimbursement we received this year. They do an audit every year. They did the audit for that was fiscal year 22, and it was $83,000 that we received as our reimbursement. We received that in April. So our expenditures were a little bit lower right now. We're at 78.94% out of 83%. 85.2% of those expenditures related to salaries and benefits. We are up 1.24% from 20. We will see our percentage go up because we do have 3 payrolls in May. So it'll bring that, those 2 line items more in line to the forecast. That's our funds. Total revenues for the year, 19.8 million, total expenses 17.8 million. We had a little over $271,000 deficit in April. But on the year, we were sitting at just over $2 million. We're today's cash about 50.6. So like I said, we've got 3 payrolls in May, 2 in June. That's got quite a few projects to lead up to the summer that we're pushing for to get paid by the end of June to bring that forecast in line. As for funds, we got a few more months and we're going to report on ESSER funds. So in April, there was $41,000 spent in capital outlays. We have $91,000 in outstanding purchases. I did go through our deferred bills for the chillers and stuff that we paid early. We were able to get a discount. So I did go ahead and reduce those purchase orders from that discount to see exactly how much money we do have. That is too high. I have an extra dollar. I think the 5's in there. It's like $62,000 is what we have left for customers. Which $52,000 of that is going to be spent for books. So I can talk to them we got to figure out about $10,000. We'll bump up to our extra funds that we need to spend. Yes. State federal programs, April expenses, we were sitting at about $170,000 with $85,000 in the National School Lunch Program. And so our balances, we'll see the next slide for general fund and all of our special ones. So we're sitting at about $10.2 million. $4,000. So I issued 2 forecasts in a year. One is due in November and the other one is due at the end of May.
Let's show. I need to share this. So it shows up. Better. How does it keep them?
Top, your tab left.
Oh, thank you. I can't see. Where?
Okay. So the main one is to basically try to figure out the rest of this year and then move on for 4 more years after that. So our main revenues are our property taxes, our ODE funding, and our public utility. That's what property tax revenues increased a little over $240,000 this year for the general fund. The Ohio Fair School funding plan is at 50% funded this year, and next year we'll go to 66.67% for the fiscal year. The biannual budget will be issued again next June. So, and hopefully the legislators will continue to put that into motion, and hopefully they'll adjust our dollars again next year. So 69.78% is what we are state funded for 2024. So we're about 30% of property taxes. We were on the guarantee this year, which means that we were not going to receive any less than what we received back in fiscal year 22. There's a subject in my recommendations to approve the community eligibility provision for next school year, where we will implement the free breakfast and lunch program back into the district because our numbers came more in line this year. So once we do that, though, we will move on back off of the guarantee, so that we may see some fluctuation when we go back onto the and that's right now we're looking to stay equal at the same amount. It just kind of differentiates between the different categories for each year. So for fiscal year 23, we had brought in $22.2 million, and we're back to $22.7 million. And then the expenses, increases in salaries according to the negotiated agreements. This year, for our insurance premiums, we saw a 7.98% increase for medical and prescription, 5.75% or 2.5% for vision. The initial report that I received from the Stark County Hall last week, we were looking at a 6.48% increase for medical and prescription and 3.95% for dental and zero for vision. They had their meeting last Friday to the directors and to approve these. I'm leaving a final word from them. And they will provide us with the actual engineers. For purchase services, that is mainly utility costs and substitute teacher costs. That drives our numbers every year. Supplies were slightly reduced, that supplies and repairs was going to be lower this year with the replacement of the boilers and chillers, and we definitely had seen cost savings with that. Increase in subsequent years for the purchase of curriculum and Chromebooks that we had previously purchased using ESSER funds. And I budgeted the equipment over the years as $100,000. And inflation continues to be our nemesis with spending. So looking at spending this year, I projected $22.6 million in those categories that you see. And looking at days of cash, this year we should finish right around 19 days, and then kind of goes down after that. But years, especially years 4 and 5, are really good guess just where revenues are going to be and your expenses. The next slide shows, just gives you a perspective of how salaries and benefits play into a percentage of our revenue. And this slide gives you the break-even point where revenues would equal, or expenses would equal revenues. We should be above this year, hopefully about $50,000, but then in the next 4 years, we'll show the deficits. And then the popular fund. So in this forecast, we started, it was $7.3 million at the beginning of this fiscal year. And by the end of this forecast, 5 years out, we should have about projected $1.2 million on this forecast. And then our popular funds, these are balances as of the end of April. So athletics was about $40,000. They do still have some money in the classroom facilities fund. That was when we built the high school and stuff, we didn't have the money that went straight to classroom facilities. Urban improvement, 722,000, that's where our stadium loan payment comes out of that each year. That's about $340,000. And then our general fund is sitting at 9.3. Monthly or not the right line, but to be right, but it's website, and once everything is approved, there will be up on the website as far as you guys. Anything you can see, yeah. But that,
This next week's a busy week. Tuesday, Wednesday are the ceremonies for the high school. Wednesday, Thursday, is the ceremony for the adult ed. And Claymont is Friday, so. Yeah, a lot of days this week.
Finance committee.
Well, the finance committee met last week, so we've already been ahead of what was presented tonight. The only thing I would still continue to say is, as Kim said, financing from the state budget is only through next year. We don't, years 3, 4, 5, it looks really, really unique. Ideally, we don't get there, but we just really don't know. So anybody who's in accounting or finance or does numbers, always worst case scenario. If we get to that point, we'll be talking about 11. I mean, that's ultimately what that comes down to. We're in that deficit spending over the next 5 years, but let's just hope the state gets it together.
Anything from all policies.
We had a couple weeks ago, discussed a handful of policies. But a lot of stuff that just bringing our policy up to the higher class code and talk about the student eligible student range drug testing policy that we're implementing here next year.
A lot of it was language, you know, more than anything.
We will have one new policy, it's drug overdose reversal policy, so we're working with the nurses as part of being able to access Narcan for our potential scenario. That is on ice. As well. As Mr. Peters stated, as far as eligible random drug testing, that will begin next year for students who are in extracurricular activities. So if you play a sport, involved in any other extracurricular activities, that would begin at 10% of the students could be pulled from grade 7 through 12. So that will start next year. The solar panel project, give you just an update on that. Materials and equipment is supposed to arrive the week of June 10th, and they're going to put a temporary fence for their laid out yard, and that will be in the corner of the student parking lot as you enter in, if you're coming down the hill on Indian Hill. So that is coming quickly. They'll be in July, they'll be trenching for electrical, and then in the fall they're going to start putting in panels. And they've got the goal is everything's up and running before the end of the year. 2020. That's moving along quickly. And also, we will have a district newsletter. Our administrators, particularly thank Mrs. O'Connor for organizing the newsletter. It will be accessible via our website, but we will be sending those postcards to current residents that live within our district and giving them the ability to access and where to access our newsletters. We have things from every building, district news, treasurer's items. So we're trying to get every gamut that we can for this newsletter to keep our community up to date with what's happening in school.
Just
to add to that real quick, the Claymont Foundation newsletter will go out in June after that one. So we will also include a QR code in the Claymont Foundation newsletter to access the Claymont cities. So I think that would be helpful. So people who come from here will also have the easy capability to see what's going on.
More discussion, business. We get a motion second, going to executive session for. And number 8, investigation. Charges and complaints against a public official.
I'll make that motion.
8, 1, 2. Roll call. Ms. Campbell.
Yes.
Mr. Peters. Mrs. Grandison. Mrs. Rose. Mrs. Wolf. Yes. No action possible, right? Certain no action possible.
We will go back out and do our reports and recommendations.
Right, executive session.
Second.
You. You get a motion in a second to approve the treasurer's reports recommendations.
Motion.
Yes. Dawn, Michelle? Yeah. Do you want me to go through these, or since it's just us?
Would you just need to do a roll call? Fine.
Just roll call. I mean, but I don't think.
Oh, I see.
So we got items A through K. Do you have any questions or? Roll call. No, very good, that, we're your call, just roll call. Okay, Mr. Peters?
Yes.
Mrs. Wolf, yes. Ms. Campbell?
Yes.
Mrs. Grandison? Yes. Mrs. Sosa? Yes.
All right, going on to superintendent's recommendations, I have 2 parts for that. Items A through, U,
Who were we removing in E again? I'm sorry.
and item F, we're removing Cali West and Deputy General. And then, under item C, Madeline Williamson, as I walked out, Jody said that she's going to be hired 4th grade, not 5th. So, Kimberly Potofsky is going to be retiring at the end of the school year. She is an entitled position at the intermediate school. Cindy Young is retiring June 1st. I do want to pay a little special attention on here, at least for one. Courtney Beckley, high school math, bachelor of step 0.
Because she stayed.
Welcome, Courtney, and welcome to the school system. And Courtney has, while she was in college, for our district, and is currently subbing long-term for us as well. So, want to thanks for that. Going through, we have contracts. We approving some extra hours for Chet Peters, Paul Clark, and Vince Derakitis, working with their career tech students in the project Lead the Way. Chris Miles with an unpaid leave for next year. Amend the unpaid leave for Madison Garrett to start the 16th of April. point through some others, we had non-athletic supplementals and non-renewed. We have our board policies, Title III Consortium, that's English learners. So we're going to start BSC for that. First National Bank, I have a paper here that they want me to sign, that they would spirit check. So you can put a logo of First National Bank claim on it, so that you would get them the approval to be putting the school logo on checks if the people want to buy their check. So we have 2 Learn Well agreements for educational services, YMCA use buses during the summertime. Michelle's role to be a volunteer for the chaperone DC trip. So those items dates. Second.
My motion.
Then I'll second.
Roll call, Ms. Campbell.
Yes.
Mrs. Host.
Yes.
Mrs. Anderson. Yes. Mr. Peters.
Yes.
Mrs. Wells.
Okay, and then the last couple items, item B, accept the resignation of Stacy Patterson as softball coach. And then we have non-renewals of other spring athletic supplementals for this past school year or this school year. Motion is second for those.
Make a motion.
I'll second. Roll call, Mrs. Host.
Yes.
Mrs. Wells. Yes. Ms. Campbell.
Yes.
Mrs. Anderson. Yes. Mr. Peters.
Abstain.
I'm gonna get a motion and a second to adjourn the meeting.
So we adjourn. I'll second.
And then, you'll get back to it.